Partials are an incredibly powerful tool to use when developing a website. They're fantastic for when developing large websites that have a lot of different components like navigation, footers, and other sections that are used throughout the website on every page. They're also fantastic for just small websites to help you be more efficient and keep yourself organized. So the best way for me to define what a partial is to actually give an example of how they can be used. So here I am in Stacks, and what I'm going to do is go ahead and throw on a site styles because I'm using Foundation 6. I am going to just add a couple of features to it. I'll go ahead and put on Font Awesome Swatch, the preloader swatch, and add in a Google font swatch. I won't set any of the settings for now, just throw some swatches on there so you can have an example. I'm going to go ahead and just put a background swatch and leave it like that. Okay, so this is all good. I'm going to rename this page to Home. And I am now going to duplicate this page. We'll just say that this is our About Us page. Now I have two pages, About Us and Home. They both have site styles on them. In this example, I'm on the About Us page and I have this background. I'm going to set the background to this maroon reddish color. Okay, here's my background on the About Us page. Now, I'm going to go to the home page. If I click on that background swatch, you'll notice that the color has not yet been set. That's okay if I only have 2 or 3 pages, and I'm diligent and can remember to update them all to be the same. I'll set the background color for this page. Let's just go ahead and make it for the body of the web page. Now the website body is that reddish color. If I go to the home page and I want the same red color for the home page, when I preview it, it's white. It's the default color for the home page because in the home page, background site styles, that background swatch isn't set to a color, let alone the body. So how can we make this more efficient? What I'm going to do is go ahead and delete the homepage site styles and go to the About Us page's site styles. Once you select site styles, you'll see at the top here you have 3 options that light up: partial, external, and template. Externals and templates will be covered in other videos. For now, what we're going to do is focus on partials. If I click the partial button, I'm taken into the partial editor. Over here in the inspector, instead of it being called Partial 4, I'm going to call this site Top. This can be arbitrary and you can name it whatever you want. But for my purposes, I'm just going to name it Site Top. I'm going to tag it with the word settings. Now what's cool about setting a tag for a partial is if you come over here to the partials panel, you'll see that I have Site Top in here. As I fill this in with more partials, this tag will allow it to be organized in the panel by that tag. I'll show you that once we add another partial. I have my partial with site styles in it. Now I'm going to back out of this, and once I click on it, you'll notice that everything is more or less grayed out. I can't change anything. I'm going to have to actually double-click on that partial to open it up. And now I can go in and actually set some settings. I have everything I need here. What I'm going to do is go back out. I'm going to select the partial again. I'm going to copy it and come over to the home page and paste it in. Now I have the same partial on both pages. If I preview, you'll see that I have that reddish color. This is all fine and good for small websites. Makes it easy to keep yourself organized and make changes quickly. But let's pretend that you have a website that has, I don't know, 15 to 20, or even 30 pages on it, and your client one day says, you know what, I don't want it to be that reddish background anymore. Instead, I want it to be a gradient. Now you have your gradient and then you back out. You preview on the home page and there's your gradient. Well, if I come over to the About Us page and preview, I see the same gradient. This is the power of the partial. You can make one change and it can reflect across your entire website. What I'm going to do is come in here, I'm just going to collapse the site styles, back out, and I'm going to show you another example of how to use a partial. I'll go to the home page and throw a pen stack on here and I'll name it footer. Okay, so I'm going to throw onto the footer a container and then I'm going to throw on a columns pro. We'll put a column divider in there just to be a little fancy. I'm going to give it some padding and gutters and I'm going to make the vertical alignment to be middle. Here is the beginning of my footer. Now if I preview this, obviously there's nothing there. I need to add some content. So let's say that in my footer I just have over here company name. And then underneath that I'm going to make a menu. I'll make this a vertical menu, turn on this detailed layout, and I'm going to add a few menu options. I'm not going to worry about styling this or anything. I know that it doesn't look the best here. In fact, what I'll do is I'll go into my site top partial and I will change the background to something a little more friendly. I'll make it a nice lighter color. That way we can at least see what we're working with. In my footer, let's pretend that I want to have the same content, the company name and this menu on every page. But in this column I want to have different content that can be shown on each page. I'll select this pen and turn it into a partial. I'll just go ahead and name this footer, and I'll give this a tag of site component. I'm going to back out just so I can show you that organizing. So I have settings and site component tags now. You can see why that tag can be very helpful. Imagine if you have 10 to 20 different partials in here. You'll be able to organize them and find them more efficiently. Back to my footer. I'm going to take this footer partial and I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it over here into my About Us page. Alright, so I'm going to come up here, I'm going to be organized like I normally am and go ahead and throw a pin on here. Throw site styles stack into that pin and name this pen site styles. Usually what I do with my site styles is I don't rely on the actual site styles stack. I usually put it on the page, and I will add in my features that are going to be global across the website, like the preloader, font awesome, total CMS core, or even the background swatch for the body. I'll just keep these in site styles because they pertain to the entire project. What I tend to do is collapse that and start throwing on swatch palettes. Then I name them accordingly. You know, maybe I want to make these the fonts. And then here is where I will go in and actually set the different fonts for the website. Now I can collapse that pin, back out, and you'll see that it's small and out of the way. It contains everything that I need. Here I have my footer on both pages, and we can see that it is actually on both pages. So what if, on the right side of this footer, I wanted to maybe have a unique image per page? For some reason, my client wants to have a different image on every page to kind of showcase what that page is all about. Well, since I have this partial, and the way we typically think about partials is whatever you put in here is going to be the same on every page, how can we have unique content? One really cool thing is you can come in here, and you can select the column, and there are these little pin icons to the right. If you check that or click that pin icon, you'll notice that this little drop area appears. So this drop stacks here is the normal one. But if you click on this one, it turns it into a partial drop area. And now if I back out, you'll see that I have this drop zone. And just to show you what it looked like before, if I come in here and make the pin blue again, come back, it's gone. I'm going to go back into the partial, click the pin icon, back out, and now I have a drop zone where I can throw in a picture stack. If I click on the About Us page, that picture stack is not there. If I wanted to, I could throw in a header stack instead. So now I have unique content per page because of that unpinned column. And so I'm going to click on Warehouse, go to Resources and Unsplash. I'll just pick this image, copy URL, and paste that in. I'm just going to say Scale Image. 512 is fine and I'll center it. And now if I preview, you'll see that I have this image with this text. And if I click on About Us, I have the same menu with the header instead of the image. That's a very simple way to get unique content on each page while having the same content on each page. And it makes your life a lot easier when needing to edit something. So if you didn't like the menu items being this bluish color, you could simply come in here, throw on a swatch palette, come down to Menu Styles, give it a class of footer menu and give that class to the menu. Click on Menu Styles and maybe you want to make them white. When you preview it, you'll see that your menus are now white. And if you back out and go into the home page, they are white as well. And you didn't change anything else in the partial. Now one thing to be cautious of is if you do use this unpinned concept, if you come into the partial itself, you'll notice that your picture stack and the header stack are not shown. They are only shown when you are actually in edit mode on the page outside of the partial. If you come in here and you for some reason repin that pin icon on the column and back out, you're going to lose your drop zone and you're going to lose your picture stack and your header stack. You need to be very, very careful when using this concept to build out your websites and stacks. So that is partials in a nutshell. I hope you found this interesting and useful, and I hope it makes your website building more efficient and more fun moving forward.